SMH my head.
Did you just say Listerine?
That's what you're talking about. Patos Listerine.
God damn it. And thank you so much, Zerg Troll. Welcome back. I hope you had a good time at work. He was actually here for MSO, and then he left during the finals for work. Yeah.
I saw him in chat when I went to bed.
Madman, Zerg Troll. He's just surrounded by StarCraft right now. Thank you so much for the bits. Hope you enjoy your Korge, as we get ready for the second semifinals. And you know what, Yaku? I'ma give you control of the cam.
Okay, I did not disable a thing, but okay, it should be fine.
Just for now.
Yep, we are now spawning in onto Pillars of Gold. LE, I don't know what it's holding up anymore, but yeah, we'll figure it out. For the first time tonight, actually, I think we're seeing this map. In the bottom left-hand corner map, spawning all the way to bottom left-hand corner, we have the blue Protoss player coming down from the land of Mexico. He is the enlightened Protoss player himself. He is going to be representing Alpha X LatAm division. The Skyman himself. Whoop. We have Pacomike. And up.
I've returned.
All right.
And in the top right-hand corner of... Wait, have you already...
I did Pacomike.
We have representing the land of Mexico, as well as that beverage that Darking mentioned. It's not quite Inca Cola, it's something kind of like that, but Mexican. We have representing Timbers Esports. It is Jimena.
You know, Listerine isn't a you're not supposed to swallow it, right? Like.
What? Yeah?
Is that not the drink that Darking was talking about?
Look, in Mexico they have their own traditions, okay? Like they don't just cleanse their mouths with Listerine, they cleanse their bodies.
And then afterwards, they do the... How did cats describe it? There's like a dance in the festival of the chickens or something like that.
Yeah, it's actually how they cleanse chicken meat so they avoid salmonella.
Yeah, that's how they make it kosher or halal.
Exactly. They don't aim it to the rising sun, they aim it to the Listerine bottle and they just go to town.
But they need to make sure that the sunlight is penetrating the Listerine bottle so they get that like glow.
Yeah, exactly. Beautiful.
This has been your next edition of CranKy Ducklings Teaches Culture.
Yeah. These are straight facts being thrown out right now, and oh my god, this is the first non-ZvZ that we're getting into.
This is the first literal non-Zerg player that we're actually looking at. And I'm kind of pulling it for Pacomike right now. Definitely a big fan of El Jaime over here, but you know, it'd be nice to have something other than ZvZ.
Yeah, I definitely agree. Like Paquito, like he's a big fan favorite here on this channel. We cast him as often as we can. He is one of the few champ killers in Battle of the Americas. Like he was actually the first champ killer in like closer to the beginning of the year. So there's definitely a little hype around him, a little potential surrounding him.
And we are all looking to see how he fulfills that potential. Once again, going to be opening up with a Stargate. But I have my doubts on whether he'll commit to it. I know this is El Paquito, this is Pacomike, but I honestly, I'm not sure how I can back this up, like, I just do not think he's going to commit too hard on the Stargate play, at least for the first game.
We'll see. I mean, what I'm a little bit concerned about is that Jim made a massive wave of links. He's making another wave of links behind this. The Bailey Nest is about to finish up as well. So JimRising, he got to third base just for the lava. He's going for a big bailing bust.
That he is. The Oracle comes home, though, and it is going to help so much in the defense. But JimRising, he's just waiting for these Oracles to, waste their energy, essentially.
Oh my god.
It's not. That's a lot of Bailings now being morphed in. And I don't see any sentries here, Light. Where are the force fields? That's all I'm saying.
Exactly. You know what, Paquito? He was waiting for Warp Gate to finish up. Warp Gate just finished up. He needs to warp in something. There it is. The sentries are on the way, but they're not done yet.
Oh, they're not done, and they cannot get your force field out in time. Ooh. One of them does, though, and that may be just enough. A couple more Bailings come in, though, and they are able to bust through the gateway. Another one of those gateways. It's so low, Light.
So low. A secondary wall gets thrown up, but regardless, the gateway can just be focused down. We do have a couple of links making it into the main base, a couple of Bailings being morphed in, but you know what? The defenses are strong. The Void Ray is out, and with the Void Ray, maybe he's able to hold on, force to pull the boys.
Indeed, he is now utilizing that battery overcharge, and with that, JimRising going to be backing away. He's continuing to pump out links. He's continuing to make those Banelings. He is not done. He knows he can't transition out of this.
He cannot. Look at that worker count. He's down to 23 workers compared to the 46 of Pacomike. And you know what? He's able to kill the gateway, but again, the wall stands strong. These oracles stand strong. They require a little bit more energy. Where's the Void Ray?
And Void Ray is sort of come in, but funnily enough, a single Void Ray is not going to be able to do much against the Lings. A lot of buildings stay powered, as there are backup pylons, but now the Lings really get a good surround. Last minute force fields there with the Dying Breath of those sentries are able to prevent the surface area, but JimRising, he is munching through that mineral line, and it's starting to go down. The Oracles just about used up their energy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, you know what? Pacomike, he desperately needs to re-wall. Like, look at that mineral bank. He has 1,000 minerals. He can definitely throw down some buildings. Don't just throw down one wall. Throw down a secondary wall. You need to plug that hole because you know what? You are still ahead in workers. Pacomike can still pull through.
That he definitely can, and the link count in the base of Pacomike is starting to really go down. JimRising really just trying to get a delay on this glaive. But it looks like Pacomike is just about held.
Ooh, he is just about held, but as you were saying, Jim was actually able to get that pylon, and 18 probes went down. I definitely feel like Pacomike, he was able to defend. He could have defended a little bit better. Things were getting really chaotic, and JimRising, he realizes that he can't end the game, so he is droning up.
He is droning up. He is backing away. And honestly, when it's all said and done, they're about equal.
Yeah. Like, Jim desperately needed those probe kills at the end. Like, for the most part, Pacomike was holding well, but there at the end, then his probes started to fall. So Pacomike, he needs to do something with these oracles, and it looks like he's going to be able to get a couple of drone kills. Yeah.
Using the last of these oracles' energy to once again take the advantage in the worker lead, and that's insanely good in a PvZ.
Oh yeah,
and being even in terms of the economy already favors the Protoss player. You can get ahead by that much, you are looking quite solid. But he does need to do something with the money he's getting. Unfortunately, he was a little gas starved earlier on, so he couldn't quite get any major tech buildings or any big units out. But now things are starting to stabilize for Pacomike. He's going for it, and I told you he ain't going for Stargate play this game.
Yeah, honestly, I love this. Like, it was so good that JimRising was able to delay Glaives for as long as he did, able to snipe that pylon, because potentially Glaives would already be done by now. And if that was the case, then Pacomike would already be across the map with these adepts already dealing damage, because what's important to note is that JimRising does not have a Roach Warren. He doesn't really have creep connecting his bases. He only has Lings and Banes to defend against the Glaive adepts.
And he does. He also doesn't have any, any spine crawlers or what have you to try to buy himself some time. These are slow Lings, and they're going to take a while to get into these adepts. And meanwhile, Pacomike can pretty much just split or get a shape. But this is a beautiful surround. The Banelings crash on top of all of these adepts. These are just enough Zerglings to deal with the ground army. But what about the Oracles? Chased away by the Queens. Beautifully done by JimRising.
Oh, that was the engagement that Jim needed. Like, I was about to say that if Pacomike was able to take advantage of the situation he was in, like go in with his oracles, snipe the Banelings, make sure they got taken out before a surround happened, and maybe, shade into the natural, like that would have been amazing. But you know what? Pacomike, he wasn't able to get a single shade off. He got surrounded by the Lings, and his army was crashed into by those Banelings.
That is the Zerg player's wet dream right there. That has got to be clipped and spread around, because my god, that was just about the perfect defensive engagement there for JimRising. everything just went right there towards the end.
Yeah, especially because that was like all he had. It's like, this is what I have to defend. Like, if Pacomike started to get things rolling and like, you know, shading from base to base, hitting the main base, hitting the third base, hitting the natural, then things would have really gotten out of control. But you know what? JimRising was able to stop that before it started, and now with that, he's catching up in workers. He's getting a fourth base.
Indeed, he is. With Pacomike, he is pretty well aware of his chances. I'm just keeping my eye on the mini-map with that Warp Prism. That Warp Prism actually isn't moving out, but the rest of the army is, and that's a very scary Protoss army. JimRising may have just picked the wrong time here to drone up.
Yeah, I was actually talking, if you recall, I was talking to Ares about this earlier. He was talking about how, like, he was able to defend against the Glaives, but then the follow-up Sentry Immortal push is what killed him. And we'll see if Jim droned up too much, or if he has enough to defend against all these Sentries, the Immortal, the Stalkers.
Desperately trying to go for Hydras right now, so no Roaches are going to come out, no Ravagers either. And that can really make all the difference here in a ZvP. Those force fields. Jim just gives up. GG is called, and Pacomike gonna be taking game number 1 of this best of 3 series. My God.
Jesus, that was close. Like, JimRising almost brought that back after like the almost failed all in, right? Where the Baneling bust didn't end the game, where ideally that's exactly what JimRising wanted. He was able to deal enough damage for the game to progress, but like, because he had no Roaches, he had no Ravagers, like he had nothing to really stop the amount of sentries, the amount of force fields that Pacomike had available to him.
As I nod along in 100% agreement there. I feel like that game does kind of show off one of JimRising's strengths there, is that he really understands his place or his position in the game itself. He knows exactly, you know, how should I approach this? What do I need to do in order for what I invested in to be worth it? What do I need to defend here? Do I need to engage? Do I need to take the initiative here? And also, towards the end there, do I have enough to defend? No, I do not. GG.
GG. Yeah, I mean, JimRising, again, he almost did bring it back. Like, he fought well there. He had the best engagements he could have had. But at the end of the day, he invested so much into that early, like, Baneling bust, and he needs to deal more damage. Because if you recall, at the end of that, he was still behind in workers.
He was, just barely. And I mean, I guess that's why he went really greedy on droning up, but that's a double-edged sword. He was not at all expecting the follow-up.
Yeah.
Or maybe he was, but he was just like crossing his fingers and saying, please don't push now, please don't push now.
Yeah.
Sometimes you gotta do that as a third player.
Yeah, sometimes you just bring your hands together and you pray for Santa Maria to like do something for you, and sometimes it works, but other times
pray for Santa Miomaika.
Exactly. But you know what? We're loading in to Romanticide for the first time today, I think.
Yeah, I believe so. But you know what else, like? We are 12k channel points away from El Intro Española número 6. Everybody down there, get your channel points ready as we load into Romanticide LE. We have the red Zerg player, gracias, he says, coming down from the land of Mexico. He is going to be playing for Clan Timbers Esports. El Pollo Loco himself. We have Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio, better known as JimRising.
Silencio himself, and spawning in the top left-hand corner of Romanticide LE, we have the other Mexican player, the Mexican Protoss player, representing Alpha X. He is the best Protoss player in all of Latino America. It is Pacomike.
Now I have a proposition for you, Light. We've been privately having some musings of a potential of, you know, a match that we would really like to see. That being Miomaika versus Cham. But here's my other proposal.
All right.
Can we have Caviar Napoleon Matices Acampado versus Jaime Arturo Duran Silencio.
See, that sounds amazing. The battle of the names. And you know what? The winner goes up against Max Angel.
That's the final boss. That is the final boss of the sickest names.
Oh my god.
In StarCraft 2.
Exactly. We'll definitely look into it. For the people wondering in the chat, like, what are you on about? Cham versus Miyamika? So, here on the CranKy Ducklings, we have an annual tournament. At the end of every single year that we have been active, we run the Duckling Showdowns, and it is a series of show matches, you know, kind of encompassing a kind of theme that we've had throughout the year. And one of those that we will do 100%, I spoke to Kura about this, is we will have a Latin America versus Oceania show match. And the big one that we're looking at, confirmed, Miyamika versus Cham.
Oh boy, both of them for a while really going back and forth for that #1 NA ladder position. It's been a really tough race.
Oh yeah, definitely. They have gone back and forth. They are on top of that NA ladder heroes. I'm sure if you follow Ravi on Twitter, he's constantly every single month tweeting about the placement that they have been getting. So yeah, it's gonna be really exciting. The big question mark for us anyway is like whether we're able to get the players to agree to the time, because I know it's not the best time for Cham, time zone wise. So yeah, well, I mean, we'll get confirmation by the time December rolls around.
What if we get Darking to fly him down?
Down to Chile?
But wait, is that close? Or we get him to fly Miyamika over?
Oh, maybe. I mean, it could be a bit of an issue because we have a bunch of, you know, borders that are closed. But you know what? Maybe we're able to work something out. Ideally,
just one airport that's open, and it also doesn't accept everyone.
Yeah, exactly.
International airport, I mean. That's the Korean one.
And I love this. So, okay, talking about this game a little bit, we didn't have a Stargate opening coming up from Pacomike. We had a Twilight Council opening, and I was curious to see what was going to be proxied because the probe was waiting out here. I was like, oh, is it going to be a Dark Shrine? Yo, he is hiding his extra gateways. So this isn't your typical 4-gate blink. Yo, it'd be 6 gates.
It is going to be a 6-8 blink coming down, and JimRising, the important part is he has not sent an overload over. He has not even had any looks, any glances into the main base of Pacomike. He's now coming in, but all he's going to see is those 3 gates. He's going to think, oh, this is going to be some kind of 5-big gate play coming out. Yeah. There's a suspect. Oh, but there is an overlord that's going to the proxy location line.
Oh my god, there he is, and he's actually going to be able to see everything. He sees everything.
He does see everything, but now what is the next step? JimRising already has that roach horn. A eso mexicano no te quita! Pacomike is exclaiming.
Oh my god, Funada. Pacomike a little bit upset that he was scouted essentially. He was able to be seen, so now JimRising, he's aware of all these Glaive Adepts, he's aware of where they are, and so far his defense has been pretty decent. Pacomike hasn't been able to commit to a shade.
No, he has not, but more and more Adepts have started to come in. Nice little forehead coming down. Aren't that many roaches at the moment, but JimRising is buying himself some time. Their shade does commit, and there's not a lot to defend, and there are a lot of drones here.
Yeah, I think what's important to note is the majority of the Lings are going to be taken out, so without those things, it's going to be a little bit harder to keep up with these Adepts as they do shade into the natural, but I love this. There is a defensive spine.
That there is. And JimRising, he's being very active with his drone defense. He is just pulling them away from every single Adept that he can. Only losing 2 so far.
Yeah, a little bit of target fire here at the third base. A couple more drones are able to go down. What's important to note is two queens went down in the natural. It looks like the 3rd queen is about to go down as well. There were enough Adepts to go toe-to-toe and take out all the queens.
But with that, Jim, he's weathered the storm. He will have to worry about little bits of depths coming in here and there, but he's already caught up in terms of the RV supply. He still has his spine standing. And this is just going to be, these harassments are just going to be weaker and weaker coming out from Pacomike. I say that, but he's taken out 8 more drones here.
Yeah, it's so important that he's been able to shave off the drone count of JimRising. And Pacomike, he is working on that follow-up. We've seen this before. It looks like it is. There it is. It's going to be the Disruptor follow-up, not the Immortal Sentry coming out from Pacomike.
I'm waiting for the Warp Pistol to come in. I'm waiting for the drops to come down across the map light.
Oh my god, that would be amazing. Interestingly, he's also getting Blink as well, so he's gonna have Blink Stalkers to support. Oh? What? Did he cancel?
Thermal Lance Colossus instead?
What? Okay.
I mean, Thermal Lance Colossus can definitely still work. We've seen a couple of Protoss players get about, what, 5 Colossus and a lot of Immortals just, you know, as a way to have something to clean up, right? Or something to deal with the Lings so that the Immortals don't get surrounded. But it's still a very uncommon tech choice here for PvZ.
And for good reason, like, especially when it comes to the composition that JimRising has, like a Roach Ravager heavy composition, then like Colossus are not what you want. Like, you want those disruptors because it's so much harder for Roaches to split against disruptors because they're so like kind of clunky, and you can get such juicy shots off. Instead, opting to go for the Colossus, which I mean I would say are decent against Hydras, which are the follow-up, but we'll see how if JimRising just like techs up or if he commits to these roaches.
It's not gonna be part of the main army. Like, the Warp Pistol is coming down. He's gonna Colossus drop. He's going straight for it. He knows Jim doesn't have that much anti-air. He's committing to the Colossus. God damn it, Paco.
Is he going? Yeah, I'm surprised. Like, there was no Warp Prism speed, so it's kind of hard to pull this off without Warp Prism speed.
That's the Warp Prism speed keeps getting Thermal Lance. Yep.
Yeah, exactly. So
Army.
We'll see what he decides to go for. If Pacomike decides to go for like some kind of drop, or if he just like sticks with this main army that he has. Meanwhile, there we go. We do have the Hydra Den on the way. We have the Infestation Pit. So JimRising is trying to tech up as fast as he can into those Hydras, into those Lurkers.
Yeah, you can't really blame him. I mean, he definitely has the advantage right now, but in ZvP that can be quite fickle. So he just wants to make sure he gets to the highest tier of tech as quick as he can, so that he is he's able to do what Ares wants to do.
Exactly.
Or do it the sort of old school, sort of Scarlet kind of style. Drone up, tech up, max out, go for the attack.
Yeah, and we'll see if he's able to do so again. He needs to focus everything he can on this defense. He even has a couple of spines being brought in to help.
Yeah, but he's fighting well away from Spine Crawler range. The Lings do get a surround on the gateway units, but the Colossus really putting in the work. And the Spine Crawlers are still holding strong, and the Biles are pretty decent. Doing a decent job of zoning over there. He managed to land on a couple of units, but the force fields are really, really good.
Exactly, and what's important is that all the Lings have gone down, both spines have gone down as well. There is only one remaining trying to root, and it looks like there may not be enough Roach Ravager. He's trying to get on top of the army. Ooh, Biles one of the Colossus.
Yeah, that's definitely the starting point, but I fear that JimRising may have just lost too much supply for that Colossus. All of these Stalkers, they do have Blink, and they are just looking to kite this army to Kingdom Come. The Bile actually landing on a couple of his own drones over there. Colossus is a little exposed, but a hot pickup on top of that Warp Prism will manage to keep it alive. And Jim, he's pulling a bit of an Ares right now.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he was caught transitioning again. He was a little bit too greedy. He got a Lurker Den, he got an Infestation Pit, he got a Hive, he got a Hydra Den, and that just meant that he didn't have enough on the ground to defend. And there's just so much here from Pacomike. 11 drones have gone down, and JimRising is trying his best to push this army away, but the problem is the Colossus is still standing strong.
It very much so is. The Colossus outranges just about everything that JimRising has got right now. And as long as that can continue to, you know, chip away at this hatchery, chip away at the main army of JimRising, or even go for some drone kills, then, yeah, Jim is going to be in a lot of trouble. Targeting down that Colossus, but another comes in just to replace it. Pacomike, he's got a factory coming up. The chargelets are coming down, and that should just about be the final nail in Jim's coffin.
Exactly, like Jim, like I'm sure like he sighed like a sigh of relief. He's like, thank God I killed the Colossus, but another one joins the fray. The aggressive, the offensive Blink forward on top of the entire army of Jim. Jim, he doesn't have anything here, and I wasn't expecting this, but he's gonna go down without taking a single map.
And just like that, El Paquito Pacomike is gonna be able to take out El Pollo Loco de Silencio.